Welcome to Namaste Today, a karma-free way to begin your day. I'm your heartfelt host and the sensei to serious joy, Christopher Witecki. This audio blogcast is for Thursday, May 25th, 2017. Happy new moon to you, my friend. Namaste. It's the new moon in the pagan religion, but in my religion, I call it Light Cast Day, because this is the day where you cast your heart and emotions into the universe so it can be reflected through the law of attraction. In today's Zodiac Weather, I'll talk about the signature of this new moon and what the focus is. And later in your tea time, since step 4 rules the day, I thought I'd talk you through an I Belong inventory. But first, let's take a look at today's moods and your Zodiac Weather. This Zodiac Weather is for Thursday, May 25th, 2017. And my global prediction for planet Gaia is cloudy yet quantum today. We have a powerful step 4 new moon, and it looks like it's the beginning of something grand. Let's take a look at the planets. Welcome to the new moon, my friends. This particular new moon is what I call a quantum new moon because it is occurring at step 4, or the 4th degree of Gemini. Step 4 has always proven to be a surprising degree. It is the ruling state of awareness of I belong, and so in some ways you could say it's the law of attraction in its purest form. So in a step 4 day, we're probably more fertile on a step 4 new moon than we are in most new moons, because the universe is calling upon what we law of attract. Now, in this particular new moon, it's probably going to be a bit quiet, even though it's so quantum. That's the weird paradoxes of new moons. You may feel tired and drowsy and out of it, and frankly, the new moon does not even apex until about 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. So in the first half of the day, you may feel a lot of electrical kind of uncertainty building up. I often feel myself a little uncomfortable, a little out of place. It's literally like you don't feel like you belong in your own skin. You don't feel like you belong anywhere. That is the belonging vortex. And for me, it creates a bit of anxiety. So usually that energy will build up to the full climax of the new moon, which, like I said, is around 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon. And at that point, there's usually a quiet silence. That's what I have found, that when we're in the eye of the new moon, it's very sleepy. In fact, I can remember several new moons where I literally fell asleep and took a nap and didn't even intend to on that day. I just laid down on the couch for a second and zonk, I was out. So don't be surprised if you don't feel like doing anything or if your energy is really low. That's pretty common. In my metaphysical opinion, what's happening during a new moon, particularly step 4, is a dimensional shift. We're kind of blinking our third eye, so to speak, and when we open, we're looking towards a new direction. We're looking towards manifesting something new. In the metaphysics of it, the moon is our emotions and the sun is our heart. And so when we mix our heart and our feelings together under one common note, if you will, this is basically the light casting that goes out into the world and begins that law of attraction process. So we have the law of attraction step happening at the law of attraction moment, and it's calling for what is best for the law of attraction, where we belong. And I joked about this before. The only problem with belonging is we tend to not know where we belong. And so the universe today is literally kind of flying us blind, if you will. I gave some tips on how to keep it positive and stay open yesterday. But the rest of the planets do give some insight to some of the structure of where we are growing and what we are doing. Probably the biggest sign is a temporary yod going on during the new moon, which is on one leg Mercury at step 10 Taurus. So our consciousness is standing on the foundation of what we intend to manifest. The other foot of that yod is Neptune at step 14 Pisces, which means we have what we're going to manifest and we have some sort of a spiritual level we feel we belong on. So it's a new spiritual level that we feel we belong on. And the Mercury and Neptune are yachting into Jupiter retrograde at step 13, which, by the way, adds to a 4, which is another I belong. You can see the cosmic signature here. So the universe is saying that in this moment of light casting and creation, your thoughts know what you're worth, your intuition knows what spiritual level you should be on, and it's time to claim the level you belong on when it comes to fairness, peace, and balance. So in essence, part of this cosmic new moon belonging is you belong in what's fair, you belong in what's equal, you belong in equal relationships, and you belong getting what you have coming to you if things have been unfair. Some other clues that we have with the planets has to do with Saturn and Uranus both trining. Saturn in Sagittarius retrograde at 25 degrees and Uranus at step 26 Aries. They're working together and they're in the high degrees, which means they're in more settled and more experienced vibrations. These are the parts of ourself that we've worked through. So Saturn is, we have decided that we belong in a certain tale or a certain story. We're not sure what's happening next, just the next chapter, but there is a decision about what our story is and our story will not be. And that's actually pretty big because a lot of times we're unsettled. On the other hand, we've also learned through Uranus that we are going to be someone and aim for a certain character aim, and we know what character we are not. So this is again kind of a powerful new moon because this belonging of going to another level or thinking that we belong on another level, which is what this is in Gemini, that we now think we belong on this other level, it involves a mature story, a mature character, and getting what's fair to us. One other interesting point of the day has to do with Venus and Pallas both conjuncting at step 19 Aries. Venus is what we're opening up to. Pallas is kind of the wise owl, or get to the very deepest understanding of it. And so this means that we are opening up to understanding on a deep level our character, Aries, and the character we're manifesting, step 19. So this is part of this moment here of changing our mind about where we belong in this new moon has to do with really owning up to the character we have come to be. And what's more, Venus is squaring Pluto at 19 degrees in Capricorn, which means whatever this character is, it likely causes conflict with the old establishment, Capricorn. It may cause things to die in your old control issues or your old way of controlling, Pluto and Capricorn. You might be turning your back on the way it has been done or tradition or even common knowledge, okay? This square represents that by going forward with this part of us, this new character we're manifesting that we're so sure of, that we're understanding to the core, we are turning our back on the old way of life. And it appears that all of these things going on today on this quiet new moon all simply boil down to one simple thing. That your mind, Gemini, now thinks, that's also Gemini, that it belongs to thinking on a new level. What this new moon suggests is the entire carnival ride is ready to take off. We're just waiting for your signature from your mind. We're waiting for your mind to decide or to think that a new level has come. That's it. And then this whole parade will move forward. And that really gives you a sense of the power of the mind. Also, I think the other interesting part of the power of the mind is, I don't know about you, but I'm reading these planets, I'm seeing all these changes, but my mind hasn't seen it yet. I haven't quite seen all of what these planets are building up to, and I would normally call it kind of silly, except I've been studying astrology so long, I know that something big is about to happen. But even I, as a human witness, is like, wow, my mind has not shown me yet. And that really shows the power of the mind to actually withhold information from ourselves or refuse to see something that might be literally right under our feet. And it's possible that whatever this new moon leads to will end up being exactly right under your feet. But I have a practical application for you today, my friend, and how to get to this mind-blowing, blind new moon. Go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our daily tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is I Belong Inventory. Now, I've spoken to the consciousness of I belong before. I really think it's a state of awareness. I think in a way it's a state of awareness that knows the place of all things at all times. I literally think there's a consciousness that is holding where everything belongs at every moment. It's how God pulls off this whole law of attraction thing. And it's my opinion that it's based on the heart. This comes from my own study of the 11 Steps to Serious Joy. That underneath I belong is what you believe, what you feel, what you love, and what you hold sacred, step 0. These are the elements that create our belonging. What we love, what we feel, what we believe in, and what we hold sacred. But most importantly, or if you want to do a litmus test, it's really what your heart has to say. Only your heart knows where you belong on earth. You can look into a crowd and go, no, I don't belong in that crowd. Those aren't my people. My heart doesn't resonate with that crowd. You can go visit a faraway place and enjoy the trip and have a great experience, but your heart will say, this isn't home. This isn't where my heart belongs. This is a conscious awareness that human beings have, but I think this is the part of our awareness that we're very much asleep to. I think we've been asleep to this consciousness since the fall of the ancient Atlantis civilization, or whatever it was called. And because we don't really understand how this works, it's been my experience that human beings fall down and trip over themselves most of the time on a step 4 day. A step 9 day is a close second, okay? But a step 4 day is almost guaranteed we're going to trip over our untied shoelaces. And it's because we are ignoring this part of us and not paying attention of what parts of us feels like it belongs. And even more importantly, when we feel we don't belong somewhere. I have many clients who have past life histories where it looks like because of their ignorance of not knowing where they belonged, they end up getting killed or hurt in those past lives simply because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time and nothing in them, or they were listening to nothing in them that said, get out of there. So today I want to share with you a little technique, a technique that I'm even forcing myself to use just for the clarity of this powerful I belong moment that we have. And as always, I like to use the 11 Steps to Serious Joy as my means of being thorough about the process. Here's how it goes. If you have a little time and space today, this would be an excellent ritual for you today to really separate where you don't belong from where you do. And this means you do an I belong inventory. You can write this down on a paper, which would be really good. If you want to practice Wicca, you can even burn that paper and give it back to the gods. Putting it in writing really does make it more real, okay? Thinking isn't enough, all right? When you manifest it in reality, you make it real. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the 11 steps and do just a conscientious check of your life of what belongs and what doesn't belong in each state of awareness. Now, I like to focus on states of awareness more so than I like to focus on actual manifestation. So I like to focus on things we belong feeling versus not belong feeling instead of focusing on the park we don't belong going to versus the park we do belong going to. Those have already manifested in your life. Those have already been attracted by law of attraction. So those don't really count. It's really these deeper essences that we manifest from. So let me explain. We'll go through the steps. Step 0 is I protect. This is basically where we take space and time with things. And so in my little I belong inventory, when it comes to protection, there's things I know that do not belong. I do not belong being without protection. Okay, that's one fundamental I've realized. I belong with protection. I belong with space and time to get my work done. I do not belong where I don't have enough space and time to get my work done. So these are two parts of my inventory. I belong getting the space and time I need to manifest the things I desire. I belong getting the space and time I need to figure out problems without them turning into a fire. Okay? These are the things that I belong with protection. I also know that because I'm very psychically sensitive, I belong with extra protection all the time. And I don't belong being without space, being without time, and I don't belong being without boundaries. Okay, so that's step 0. And you may find as you go through your step 0 that you have an issue where you feel protected or unprotected in life right now. And you might say, I belong being protected on this level. I do not belong being protected on that level. So you might also be shifting levels of where you feel you belong being protected. It may not be a to protect or not protect situation. It may be more of a sophistication of where you belong within the world of protection. Then I move on to I love. When it comes to things I love, I do not belong being alone. My heart does not belong being alone. My heart does not belong being without. My heart does not belong lacking the ability to be creative. I belong in a loving situation. I belong to receive as much love as I give. I belong receiving as much love as I give. That's really a receive. But I belong with my heart fulfilled. That's where I belong. I don't belong with my heart sad or my heart worrying about the past. I don't belong hurting from past love. I belong feeling love right now. I belong feeling love as an infinite. That's where I belong when it comes to love. Then we move on to step 2, feelings. I don't belong feeling sad. I don't belong feeling alone. I don't belong feeling scared. I don't belong feeling weak. I belong feeling strong. I belong feeling healthy. I belong feeling gratified every day by my life. I belong feeling content. I belong feeling a sense of peace. These are the feelings that belong with me. And negative feelings do not belong with me. I don't belong feeling shame or regret. I don't belong feeling darkness either. I belong feeling only light. I don't want to feel darkness. I do not belong feeling darkness. So my emotional inventory. Then we move up to step 3, believing. I do not belong believing what society tells me. I belong believing in myself. I belong believing in my experience. I belong believing in what my heart wants to believe. I don't belong believing that it won't work out. I don't belong believing that this story will end negatively. I don't belong believing that I'm in the wrong story, I've done something wrong. Those are not beliefs that belong with me. I belong with optimistic beliefs that support who I am, etc., etc. Step 4 is belonging, but we're doing a belonging audit, so this is taking care of step 4 in every dimension. Step 5 is thinking, and you can run along with this example. I do not belong thinking negative thoughts. I do not belong being depressed. I do not belong being in anxiety. I belong being optimistic. I belong being open-minded. I belong being eloquent with my words, not tripping over them. I don't belong tripping over my words. I belong streaming them out gracefully. I don't belong thinking negative thoughts. I belong thinking positive thoughts. And then you go on to step 6, receiving. I do not belong receiving grief. I do not belong receiving attitude. I do not belong receiving disrespect. I do not belong receiving poverty. I belong receiving abundant love. I belong receiving what I'm worth. I belong receiving my equal. I belong receiving what I give. Okay? Step 7, I sense. I do not belong sensing darkness. I do not belong sensing evil. I do not belong sensing negativity. I belong sensing the light. I belong sensing God. I belong sensing positive thoughts. I belong sensing good information along the telepathy lines. I do not belong receiving negative information, and etc., etc. Step 8 is deciding. I don't belong making decisions that tie me down. I don't belong making decisions that sacrifice me. I don't belong making decisions without having meditated first. I belong deciding based on my heart. I belong deciding based on my feelings. I belong deciding based on the 11 steps. I do not belong deciding based on just power. I don't belong deciding based on just control. I belong deciding based on the heart and spiritual good. I belong making decisions that are good for Chris first and then other people second. Step 9 is I act, I am. So you would say, this is where you would quit certain habits. Like, I don't belong eating ice cream at 4 a.m. You know what I mean? Like, I don't belong drinking alcohol 7 days a week. I don't belong smoking. I don't belong treating my body in a crappy way. I don't belong being late all the time to places. I belong being on time. I belong acting in a healthy way. I belong acting in a way that helps everyone, not just my ego. I don't belong acting out based on my ego. I don't belong putting my anger on others. I belong taking it on myself, and I belong being my own hero, that sort of thing. With manifestation, step 10, I don't belong manifesting more lessons. I don't belong manifesting more of the same stress. I don't belong manifesting things that hurt me in the end. I don't want to manifest any more karma that I've already experienced. I don't belong manifesting the old karma. I do belong manifesting freedom. I belong manifesting serious joy. I belong manifesting true love in every moment. I belong manifesting a life that I enjoy being in every minute of the day. This is what I belong being and manifesting in. And then finally we get to step 11, I become. I don't belong becoming a martyr. I don't belong becoming a hero. I don't belong becoming a savior. I don't belong becoming a zombie. I don't belong becoming a lazy ass. I don't belong becoming an addict. I don't belong becoming what I was in the past. I don't belong becoming my parents. Okay? These are all things, and when you define where you don't belong, you only open up for where you do, even if you don't know where you do. I do belong becoming healthy. I do belong in becoming completely healed. I do belong in becoming helped, not always being the helper. I do belong in becoming genuinely happy. I do belong in becoming my authentic self. I do belong in becoming my potential. Okay? So you too can go through the 11 steps here, one hidden, one step zero. And today would be a good day to make this list, to be clear on it. In a way, you could say you are setting the laws of your laws of attraction. And anytime you have an update to this, go ahead and update the list. This can be a living document somewhere in your life that you update from time to time and move things around like chess pieces. Remember, as I'll end this today, that the judge and jury of belonging is the heart. So in all the things that you say you don't belong, you should feel in your heart, that's true. And all the things where you feel you do belong, you should feel in your heart, that's true. So use your heart as the barometer. This is not something for the mind. Well, okay, my friends, this concludes today's New Moon Extraordinaire I Belong inventory. I sure hope that you have a powerful new moon and that this all adds up for you real quickly. As soon as step 5 hits, which is later in the day, you might start to have some clarity of what that breakthrough is, the clarity of where all this is going. In the meantime, hold space for your heart and hold space for where you belong. It's been my experience. It will come. Have a wonderful new moon. Remember that I love you, and live, love, be.
Live, love, be.